I'm Rico Capuano. I'm an artist, producer, live and work in Glasgow, and I run the Doghouse Studios, which has been operational in Glasgow for the last 15 years. Started out getting into music when I was about 12, 13 years old, and started out as a drummer, then got interested in writing. So started messing about with an acoustic guitar and a bass, and started to write tunes and got to work on little porter studios and things like that, which gave me a real buzz for how things were put together and seeing a track coming together, and also kind of developing your writing skills along with the idea of sound and playing with sound. It was really kind of appealing to me. I played in several bands through my teens and then into my 20s, and I then ended up getting a bit disillusioned with it. Got a bit disillusioned with the industry and bands that I was in, were constantly chasing a record deal, trying to get record companies to come and see you, and it just got to a point that I thought, I don't think this is happening for me. This isn't what this should all be about. So I stopped doing it for a while, and but 9 months later, I was over at a mate's house, and this track by a Scandinavian band called Whale came on MTV. The track was called Hobo Humping Slow-Mo Babe. And it came on, and the hairs on the back of my neck just went up. And that was me. I was back in that moment, in that 3 or 4 minutes. Within a couple of days, I was back writing, started working in the studio and just writing stuff, but purely for me, as in a kind of solo basis. Instead of doing the band thing, collaborating with others, I was like, no, I just want to make something that I love, and that's all I was looking for out of it. And then, bizarrely enough, that then led to a lot of record company interest, and I ended up signing a deal to EMI Records, and I released my first solo album called Sanctuary Medicines. It was a great feeling getting a record deal.
Let's not rock, let's roll!
Toured the UK and Europe several times, and at the time of my life, it was amazing. And we did that for about 2 years, and then came out of it, kind of fell out with the label. I was known as a difficult artist for some reason, and by difficult I think generally the way I saw it was because I was kind of focused on what I wanted to do. A lot of people don't like that, and they continually want to make changes to it, which I wasn't up for. So things then fizzled out with EMI, and I left them 2 years later. Looking back, I think I get into music production probably because I'm a bit of a control freak. I didn't like going into a studio and not knowing how things worked. So if I was looking for a particular sound, I had to know how to create that. I've been lucky enough to work with some artists and collaborate, write and produce with some artists that totally inspired me. One being electro godfather, Gary Numan. Tricky. I worked with James Murphy from LCD Sound System. I got to go out to New York and work out in their studio in the West Village, which was really nice. That was a good time. So getting to work with these guys in the studio was incredible. It was really, really good fun. And I learned a lot as well. You learn a lot off anybody that you work with, and if you kind of stay open to other people's methods and other people's creative flows, then you're picking up stuff all the time. There's always another way to approach something. The creative process, as well as being magical at times can be the most frustrating, maddening place to be. I kind of feel you start with an idea, and as soon as you start on the idea, coming in from the side is doubt, and it's kind of like you if you're not fast enough and doubt gets in front of you, then you're done, and you end up halfway through an idea and it's over. Because I'd hit this doubt scenario and thrown loads of stuff away, at the point where I got the rush of what I was working on, I used to write myself a letter and date it and sign it. So it was about how I felt about this piece at this particular moment in time. So if I got bored of it, I always had this letter from myself, kind of Back to the Future vibe, like telling me that, no, you need to stick with this is really good.
1 step forwards and 2 steps back.
If I'm going to make music, I don't really come into the studio with anything. The studio to me is my instrument. I'll just mess about. I'll play with guitars, pedals, basses, bits of loops, detune things until something hits me. I think my favourite definition of creativity is order emerging from chaos. That's kind of what I've found it to be. The approach to making stuff, to making music, creating art, it can come from so many places. There's not any kind of standard way of going about it, and I think that's what I love about it. But that's also what drives you crazy. Another project that I'm heavily involved in just now is called Behind the Noise, and that's a music and business education programme for young people across the west of Scotland. So we're working with about 250 to 300 kids each year. It's now in its 5th year, and that's been a bit of an eye-opener. I didn't know how it would take to working with young people, and then after the first year, when we actually developed it into a full project and programme, it just became really rewarding and also really inspiring, because you're seeing the lights go on with a lot of these kids that creatively starting to express themselves, getting the confidence to perform. We take them into the studio, we teach them a bit about the industry, a lot of the basics, and then we put on shows with them, so they end up performing at the end of the 6-month project. They end up performing to over 500 people in the Classic Grand Glasgow, and that's an electric affair. It's like one of the buzziest gigs that I've ever been to. When you see the development of young people and you see how quickly they can develop, and if they get put, I suppose it comes back in a lot of the ways to working with other artists. It's like when you put them in a comfortable, kind of safe environment, that where they feel free to express themselves, and they're encouraged and helped along the way to see what they can produce and see what they come out with. Is pretty special.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo.
I think a lot of the time creativity can be undervalued, and I think a lot of the jobs within the industry can be undervalued. One of my kind of favourite stories on that was Pablo Picasso was sitting sketching in the park. A woman came over, pleaded with him to sketch her, which she did. So he drew her, passed it over to her, and she said, "That's amazing, that captures the essence of my personality. Can I buy that from you?" And he said, "Sure." She went, "How much do you want?" And he said, 5,000 francs. And she said, 5,000 francs? It only took you 5 minutes. And he said, "No, madam, it took me all my life."